You're listening to Bring Me the Axe. I'm Brian White. I'm one half of this morbid equation, and I'm joined by my co-host and brother, Dave White. Hey, Dave, how you doing over there?
Oh, thank you for asking. All right. I started putting up Halloween decorations today.
It's crucial.
A gun.
Oh, shit, you got it. Or wait, did you already have that one? It was the popcorn gun that you wanted.
I didn't get the popcorn gun because it's like $100 and something. But, I like blowing money on dumb shit, but sometimes you got to reel it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got last year they were selling a very sweet Freddy Krueger glove that I looked at and I was like, that is a very expensive prop that I think I'm going to buy. And then I bought it.
I just put it on every Halloween and scare the children's.
Every now I put that on and I put my Jason mask on. I didn't buy that one though. I made the Jason mask.
It's a clashing of identities.
Yeah. Jason and Freddy's all in one.
Mm-hmm. You get your Freddy's and your Jason's.
Exactly. I had COVID.
Well, I believe about a week ago you said, I feel like shit. And I said, do you have COVID? And you said, no, I don't have COVID.
Nope. I thought that I had the flu because I was like, where would I have gotten COVID?
Literally anywhere.
I think I got it narrowed down to where I got it.
Yeah, same place a bunch of other people got it. That's right.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Morbid podcast giving everybody COVID.
Yep. I went on the first day I was like knocked the fuck. Well, the reason that I didn't think it was COVID was because I didn't have any of the. I didn't lose any sense of taste or smell or anything like that. I didn't have any of the respiratory stuff that is very characteristic of COVID. But I did have all the symptoms that you can very easily mistake for the flu. And so I was like, this has got to be the flu. But then I didn't have any of the stomach shit from the flu. Mm-hmm. And so a couple of days later, I took a test when I was coming up on time for rehearsal for Dracula. And I was like, I should make sure because I was feeling good by then. Like I was no longer symptomatic. And then I took the test and it was like, wait 20 minutes for results. And 3 minutes in, I had a positive result. And I was like, well, great.
Is this the first time you've had it?
No, this is the second time that I've had it.
Okay, because I told you, Elena got it, and she has had it 9 times.
That's fucking crazy.
I mean, she's got 3 little kids, so.
Okay. I have a couple of kids as well. No, I holy shit. And also, I wasn't I can't remember the last time I got a booster, which is on me. And so this shit really hit me.
Listen, motherfuckers, all y'all got to go out there and get your COVID boosters. I got mine last month. I think you can still get them for free.
Yeah. Yeah. This, that was on me. Motherfucker, that sucked. But, getting over it. And you might notice it as I talk because my voice is still kind of shot. But, this week was a grand old time. At least I had a couple of days off from work.
That's right. That's on the bright side, you had COVID.
Yeah, so we practically grew up in neighborhood video stores. The steady diet of utter garbage that those shops provided us with continues unabated to this day. And there's no one else I enjoy chopping it up with more about trashy movies than Dave. Just before we get into it, here's a little housekeeping. If you want to keep up with us between episodes, you can also find us on Instagram at Bring Me the Axe Pod. Dave's over there at That Werewolf. I encourage you to join us. We got Dave's doing a whole 31 Days of Horror. We do it every Halloween. Dave has really kind of outdone himself this year. This is 31 global days.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, because I was like, I'm sick of fucking putting up the same goddamn movies that everybody else is like, everyone should see this. And I was like, people need to watch more international fucking movies. At least people in the United States. People around the world can watch their own movies, I guess. I'm gonna encourage people go watch foreign films.
Yeah, I've noticed a few other accounts that used to do the whole October 1st, here's a list of movies you can watch on their Instagrams, fucking. I won't name names, but a bunch of them. These years, they're following us now.
Yeah, well, look, you got to do something. And it gets real fucking boring when it's here's the same shit. It's Christmas. Here's the same 10 fucking Christmas horror movies.
Yep. So they're wheeling them out one day at a time. Mm-hmm. Just how you should do it. Because I've taken your advice. I've watched a couple of these movies. I got to a point where I was not watching movies for the podcast. And I was like, shit, let's watch Thirst.
It's a great movie.
It's a fucking great movie. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you recommended it.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you don't know, we got another show called 99 Cent Rental where we cover all manner of video store madness on the week's Bring Me the Axes Off. Our latest episode covering Steel and Lace is out now. It's a doozy. That movie is something. It is something. And our All Bring Me the Axe October continues next week with a look at Don Coscarelli's goddamn classic Phantasm. You can also contact us directly at bringmetheaxepod@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or suggestions. Do let us know if there's a movie that you love, would like to hear us give it the business. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can do that. You can look us up over there at patreon.com/bringmetheaxepod. There's a couple of tiers you can join there. Subscribers to the $5 a month tier can look forward to our bi-weekly X-Files rewatch pod. Do you think I'm spooky? We're in season 2. Our latest, our look at season 2, episode 2 just dropped on Thursday. The Host.
It's a good one.
It's the Fluke Band episode.
Yeah, you'd think it would be a stupid episode, but it's not.
Nope, it's great.
It's real gross.
It's so much poop. And then our monthly Bring Me the Axe Millennium Edition is also on board there. It's a bonus episode in which we explore a modern horror movie. The current episode also just recently dropped, looking at The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Classy horror.
It's a movie that we mostly liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, pop on over. Listen to us talk about The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's a very interesting movie.
I mean, for $5, you get so much for $5.
So much value, because I'm not even done, dog. There's also my bi-weekly DJ show, Radio Free Haddonfield, on the weeks when Do You Think I'm Spooky is off. You can expect a surprising mixtape of everything from rock to disco to punk over there. Do you like music? Of course you do.
And if you don't, you're probably a serial killer.
It's weird. I don't know what's wrong with you. Yep. All Patreon subscribers, even the free tier, get access to our Discord server. Paying members also get access to additional channels like voice and video chat and the watch parties option. Unfortunately, the watch parties are off for the rest of the month.
Why?
Because Friday nights when we usually do it are Friday nights when I'm at the haunt this month.
Oh.
So I'm going to be out there going booga booga at drunk people. And I will not be able to host the Friday night movie.
I mean, I would do it, but people would be like, is he still there? What? Where? Fell asleep halfway through.
Be advised, it's not like a super chatty event. Like we comment here and there, but for the most part, it's just a bunch of us kind of quietly watching a movie together.
Did you guys watch this movie? No,
we did.
Oh,
yes.
Do people like it? They fucking better.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It's hard not to like this one.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Once again, that's patreon.com/bringmetheaxepod. We've also got merch. I've been forgetting to say it. We got merch, baby. Get yourself a nice t-shirt. Get yourself a nice hoodie. Is it a wig?
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good one. You still got that other one on the deck?
I do. I have 2, actually, that I'm working up in my mind.
Yeah, check the show notes for the links to the Discord, the Patreon, and our merch. Lastly, if you like what you hear, you can subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. We're over on YouTube. Search us by name and subscribe if you prefer to consume your podcast that way. And you'd be doing us a favor by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So get to it. We got a new one. We got a new one on Apple Podcasts. The number went up.
Is it a beef stew recipe?
No, it's not. It was a 1-star review.
Uh-oh. Well, were we a little too woke?
I can only assume that we probably said something about Republicans that made them upset. So fucking deal with it. I don't give a shit.
Well, maybe be a better person and I wouldn't say those things.
Yeah. Yep. And if you listen on YouTube, do us a favor. Give the episode a like and leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. Just want to get that
except when you tell us we're too woke. Actually, I don't ever want anyone to tell me I'm woke.
You know what? Tell us that we're woke, because even then the fucking engagement benefits us.
Okay. Well, yeah. Carry on.
And then I'll fucking mock you, and I'll take screenshots and just share it on the Discord, and everybody will fucking laugh.
Yeah, I won't just dox you. I will literally come to your house and set it on fire
with a printout of the comment and be like, "Explain this to me, motherfucker."
That is pretty much how I would have to do it. I don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah, have Michael have to print out the posts for you.
He would, but the whole time
he's Donald Trump's assistant.
The whole time he'd just be like, "Are you sure you want to do this? I don't think this is a good idea."
Yeah, let's just get that all out of the way right at the top of the show, because you know what? It's trailer time.
Nice.
Here we go.
it! Stop it, Susie! Suzanne, you're coming with me.
So welcome live this Halloween night to the first ever TV Ghostwatch. That's the scene in Fox Hill Drive in Northolt. Our outside broadcast units are there. That's the house where it might all happen tonight, or it might not. We shall see.
We've created a seance. Massive seance. Get off me! Susie! Mike! Oh, what's happened? Are you okay? Look.
Round and round the garden, like a teddy bear.
Boy, not as much dialogue as I was expecting out of that trailer.
No, it's I think it's a fan trailer. The movie doesn't actually have a trailer because it was for television.
You're right. I mean, they've since produced one simply just because it was released on DVD and Blu-ray, you know, at various times. Ghostwatch.
But that opening, what big eyes you have? Whew,
Yeah.
that's real creepy.
Yeah. That was the voice of that was the director.
A woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. They apparently they pawned it off on an actor, a voice actor. Just couldn't figure it out. And so she was like, out of my way, bitch.
Nice.
Yeah. Fucking Ghostwatch. A English British television sensation. Legendary.
Yep.
And I bring this question to you before we really get into it.
Okay.
Is this better known for its reputation? Does its reputation precede it?
Yes, I think in a lot of ways. This movie was very hard to get for a long time until very recently. It's still, I don't think it's available on North American region Blu-rays.
I mean, you can get the I got it from 101.
Oh yeah, 101's a British company.
Sure, but I mean, they don't region code. I believe that it's 4K, so there is no region code.
But it was on Shudder for a while. But the first time I saw it, I had to find it like on YouTube, like a real shit version on YouTube.
I had a videotape of it, and I remember watching it and being like really unimpressed by it. But also, it came without context, and I think the context goes a long way into I don't know, selling its appeal. Because if you were to just sit down and watch this, knowing nothing about it, I think that it would be a very middling experience for you.
I would argue that you're probably better positioned to appreciate it now as well. Not just knowing the context, but also knowing that it's really more of a drama than a horror movie. It has elements that are, I think, extremely creepy. But it's kind of like Lake Mungo in that way, that it's like, this is really a dramatic film more than anything else. And so you probably went into it being like, I'm going to watch this, notorious horror movie. It's like, well, it was a made-for-TV movie from 1992.
Yeah.
It's British, and it's extremely British.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it wasn't, I think when it came out on DVD for the first time is when I really, really saw it in its proper context, because I reviewed it for the old website. And after that,
that was probably around the time that I saw it.
So this would have been around 2007 or 2008. I want to say
sounds right.
Yeah, And so, yeah, then I was like, oh shit. Okay. Now I kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And because at the time there wasn't like a whole lot of documentation on the internet about it, you only had to go on based on like a few articles that you could find here and there. And all of them were very sensational about the effect that this had on the British public.
And those are as true as they are false. I think
that is because as I did all the research for this, I was just kind of complaining about it before we hit record. Was I don't have as many notes for this as I was expecting to have, and as it turns out, it's mostly because a lot of what I've found and the sort of vector that I want to kind of pursue on this as we talk about it is how much of that was made up or not made up, but sort of boosted by the British tabloid press and turned into
by the BBC itself.
Oh, really? Because as it turns out, like if you're just coming into this fresh, you're not aware of what we're talking about exactly. Let me sort of introduce Ghostwatch to you, because we're going to talk about it. We'll get into it more in depth. But if we're sort of sound cryptic or being vague, 1992, we'll do the whole rundown in just a second. But the BBC produces a 90-minute made-for-TV event for Halloween, in which they do a live paranormal investigation of a supposedly haunted house north of London. And then like all this shit happens in the show. But even though it has like writing credits and it's presented as a Screen One movie, which is like what's like an ongoing thing, like a kind of like a
Screen One was a BBC time slot that was dedicated exclusively to television productions that were dramatic. So the fact that it was put in that time slot kind of told you everything you needed to know. Like you could rely on the consistency of the BBC to be like, oh, whatever's in that slot, drama.
Right. But the public was not necessarily keyed into this. A lot of people came into it a little bit late as it was in process. And the intention of this production was to present it as if it were real. As if this were a live, real paranormal investigation starring people from the BBC that you know who are typically not given to like pranks and shit.
Yeah, it would be like if CNN made a fake horror movie, like made a found footage horror movie and had like Jake Tapper and fucking Dana Bash starring. Like that's the level that a lot of these people were at. You know, they're Michael Parkinson is the older guy. He was like, he had been on TV since TV started.
Yeah.
Like these were regular faces. It would be like if Oprah, maybe not quite level of Oprah, but like Good Morning America, the women from Good Morning America or The View, all of a sudden were like in this horror thing.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, well, they're reporting on it, so this must be real.
Right. And then so what ends up happening is they present all of this shit as real. A whole lot of crazy horror movie stuff happens. And the public reacts as though in the same way that they did in 1938 with the War of the Worlds thing, where people were like, holy shit, is this real? Is this really happening right now? Because like stuff happens in the BBC studio and like one of the presenters gets like kidnapped by a ghost and shit. Like it's all kinds of crazy shit happens. And there was a public freak out as far as the press is concerned. And that's the part that I want to sort of explore a little bit. Is how much did the public react in the way that it has been reported that they did?
Well, I will tell you all about it then.
Because because this resulted in some actual documented cases of childhood PTSD. There's a couple. There was a suicide related to it that was again kind of put on the headlines as like, oh shit, the Beeb went too far this time.
And of course, like all things, those require a lot more context to understand because they're in fact maybe not as directly related as it is made to seem.
Right. As we pull back the layers of that onion, you'll find out that like there were extenuating circumstances for all of that stuff. But like that is to sort of set you up for what we're talking about here. Presented as if it was not like it's basically like a documentary, and people fell for it, and there was a sort of a public uproar that has kind of carried the movie's reputation ever since then.
I will also say that but like we ran into with what was the nuclear ones we did? Threads and
Threads the day after.
Yeah, like those television movies. It's not like today where, I mean, TV movies are different today anyway, but like you couldn't find these once they were like these movies were made to be shown once.
Oh yeah,
maybe
one and
twice.
done. One and done. Maybe they showed up on like a late show or like an 8:00 movie or something,
or like an
that.
8 a.m. on a Saturday or some bullshit. This would not have. But most TV movies were meant to be shown one time, maybe two. That was it. And so what that benefits from is that this airs, and that's the only time it really airs. It's aired a couple times since then, but not until very recently.
Has it? I was gonna say, because one of the other things that sort of carries this movie's reputation along is the BBC banned Ghostwatch.
This is what I'm getting to, is the BBC didn't ban Ghostwatch.
No, they just
the
saw
BBC
no
just
fucking
didn't
point in airing it again.
rerun. Right, they didn't rerun TV movies because TV movies were a one and done type of thing. So this really benefits from this kind of mystique of like, what is this film that everybody is banned and now we can't see it? It's like, you can't see it because you can't see any of those movies. Like, yeah, if you dig into the fucking BBC archives, you can pull this stuff up.
Right.
But it's not until
it would
YouTube.
be like if ABC got really precious about this house possessed.
Right. And they have released, since some of those movies have come out on DVD, but like this was not one that they were going to do that with. They probably weren't really interested in licensing it because it's such, going through a licensing deal. If you're the fucking BBC, like you don't want to deal with that. So
no, that, and also its impact was meant to land on Halloween.
Yeah.
Specifically. And then after that, everybody, if you showed it again, it was going to be really dated. And, it's
a very 90s movie.
Yeah. And the fact that it has like these particular people in it sort of really roots in its time. And so re-airing it, there's no fucking point to,
right.
to really
and so
sort of
it's not like it was banned for being too outrageous. It was like, it just went, they didn't show it again because they don't show movies like that again. And so it really benefits from that. And it's not until like YouTube and DVD that, kind of niche stuff like this, people start to take an interest, and then it becomes worth, like once you can justify there's going to be thousands of people who want to buy this, then they'll probably put it out.
Oh, sure. And as it happened, like in certain ways, like this did actually sort of hold a place in the kind of the British cultural imagination for a little while. Like this is something that people,
like Threads.
that until they re-released it, like people talked about it on the regular. It was like, hey, remember that thing? It's like when someone, like a bunch of us, like fucking get together and be like, hey, remember that episode about the haunted bunk bed on Unsolved Mysteries? And
gotta throw it in the lake.
We all
you got to do with it.
All of a sudden, we get like collectively traumatized thinking about that one episode again. It was like that.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Because this movie came out in the year 1992.
Yes, I was there.
Year of our Lord. And what a fucking year 1992 was. Yeah. Here we go. Other movies released in 92. Army of Darkness came out in 1992. Bam. I know you don't like those movies, but I do. Candyman came out in 1992.
Pretty good movie. Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out in 1992. Not a great movie.
We watched it just recently. Pretty funny.
I mean, it's got Donald Sutherland in it. It's got fucking Rutger Hauer.
Yep.
And
it's got Sideshow Luke Perry.
And Pee Wee Herman. I mean, everyone's doing their best with a middling script.
It's pretty funny. Also in 1992, Brain Dead, a.k.a. Dead Alive, came out in 1992.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Fucking A. Right? God damn, 92. Stacked. Let's close it out
movie.
proper. Here we go. Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me came out in 1992.
Okay.
Shit.
Have you
what
ever
a year.
Fire Walk with Me, out of the context of the series, still is good?
Well, yeah. When's the last time you watched it? Because I watched it a couple of years ago. And
it
does a pretty good job of sort of getting you up to speed on what has already happened.
I remember it was a lot more aggressive than the show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, by the time that movie ends, holy shit, it's like beating you over the head with the television.
Maybe I'll watch it again. I do like. It's good. I like that series.
It's good. I like that one a lot. David Bowie just kind of shows up out of nowhere, and then he vanishes.
Just like
you get a lot more Gordon Cole.
I'm gonna watch it again.
Okay. Our director for this project here is a woman named Leslie Manning.
Lovely lady, seems.
Lovely lady. I was surprised to find out that it was a woman.
Me too, actually.
You know, I don't know. There's something about the kind of BBC well-known boys club.
Yeah, I mean, it's 92.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a big time TV. You just don't expect it, and
Nope.
I think she does a fantastic job.
Nope, she's all over that documentary. It comes on the 101 disc. She's very nice. She was a utility director for the BBC. Finding information about her proved to be a real fucking challenge. But it seems like before and after this special, she did a lot of directing specifically for BBC News segments. You know, which is probably why they reached for her in the first place. She does have some TV and features to her credit, but it's nothing that I've ever heard of.
The story of Tracy Baker.
Yeah. She claims that there are 13 instances of pipes in this broadcast, and I think that she's full of shit because I've only counted 8.
I could only find 4.
Really?
Yeah, but I have a hard time. You know when you gotta like watch the screen for shit? My brain doesn't work that way.
All right.
So I only catch like the obvious ones.
Yeah.
Where he's like literally standing right in front of them.
Right. Our writer is a guy named Stephen Volk, who also surprising list of credits here.
Yeah.
He wrote Ken Russell's Gothic.
Not a good movie. Very
like
sexy
that.
film though.
I do. I love a Ken Russell movie, mostly just because he is unashamedly sexy.
He loves a sexy moment.
Loves sexy. Loves to make it sexy.
He's like David Cronenberg if David Cronenberg were more Victorian
Yeah, that makes
than
sense.
Canadian.
Yep. Also, he's a writing credit on William Friedkin's killer tree nymph movie, The Guardian.
That movie is bad.
I have not seen that one.
I haven't seen part of it.
one. Yeah. So our cast includes Michael Parkinson, who was a longtime BBC presenter with a show named after himself. Just Parkinson, it was called.
Yeah, he was on. Also had a show in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, Parkinson in Australia. He was also the host of Give Us a Clue, one of their game shows, like quiz shows, for like a long, long time.
Which is really funny because he does not have game show personality at all.
I think he was supposed to be like the droll guy.
Okay. Because the format of his talk show was basically celebrity talk in the but it was in the style of like Tom Snyder.
Yeah.
So it was
I'm
like
picturing
super chill vibe, like cigarettes and martinis.
Yeah, I'm picturing like who was the real leftist one in the 60s?
Abby Hoffman.
No, he had a talk show, late night talk show.
Mike Douglas.
Yes. Mike Douglas.
Yeah.
He kind of gives me that vibe where he comes across as conservative, but like he's a little hip, he's a little cool.
Yeah.
Now it turns
I foresee like Krusty the Clown.
Right.
Smoking a cigarette and like a turtleneck sweater.
Mm-hmm. Here's another long raga by Ravi Shankar.
Shankar.
Whatever. So apparently he was maybe the hardest one to work with because Sarah Green and Mike Smith, who were like the other stars of the movie, they had acting experience. Like she was a trained actor. Mike Smith had been on like kind of poppy television for a long time.
Yeah.
And Michael Parkinson did not really know how to do that. He was a very sort of stodgy older guy.
Yeah, like his vibe is very British, very sober, very low key.
And so what I guess Leslie Manning, what she said was that she eventually realized that if she just kind of let him riff, like he knew the script, but he couldn't present it as an actor. He had to present it. And when he tried to present the script as the character or as what he was familiar, the style he was familiar in presenting, it was very wooden because it sounded like someone reading from a script. And so she was like, all right, you know the story, you know the script, you know what these people are going to say to you. Go ahead. Give us your version. And then he was able to sort of be like, okay, I can riff on it because I know how to do that here.
That's awesome.
If it's like someone invited me on some podcast about anything and I'd be like, and they'd be like, okay, talk about horror movies. I'd be like, yes, okay, the thing I know how to do. Good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, his mom apparently saw him on this and was very, very confused and very upset with him. She was
I
very,
wonder.
very, very cross with him.
I wonder about that claim because when he made this movie, believe it or not, he is 57 years old.
No shit. All right.
But his mother would have been like 90.
Maybe.
I mean, it was the olden times, so maybe she wouldn't be quite that old. Maybe she was a little bit younger.
She was like 15 years older than him.
Yeah, but it does sound to me like a little bit like, did she really? Did she really call? Did you all really get 1 million phone calls? I bet you didn't. That's a big number.
Well, 11 million people watched this when it aired.
I mean, what choice did they have?
I must call. So we've also got Sarah Green, who, similar to Michael Parkinson, she was doing here what she was well known for doing around several BBC productions. She tended to be the on-the-scene personality for a lot of news magazine-type shows and soft news. Additionally, adding to Ghostwatch's authenticity, the BBC produced several shows or limited series that often featured her with titles like Crime Watch, which is a TV show similar to Unsolved Mysteries or America's Most Wanted, and Hospital Watch, which was a slice-of-life look at the National Health Service.
She also had a kids show, like a Saturday morning kids show.
Right. Yeah, one of the outrageous claims from the British right tabloids where she told her children to watch this show, and it's like, no, she fucking didn't.
No, she didn't.
No,
she's normal men.
Here, calm it down. I've got normal men references up in here.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah. So she was in fact married to Mike Smith, and just like in this movie, the BBC often played this up for audiences who just loved their dynamic and chemistry.
And could she do better? Almost certainly.
I love that. One of the things that she points out in the interviews is whenever she's on screen and she's receiving like a message from the studio, she always touches her ear, and she's like, "I would never do that in real life."
So distracting.
Yeah, but it was like visual shorthand for like we're now receiving messages from from Michael Parkinson. And lastly, we got Craig Charles. And if you are a nerd over a certain age before Doctor Who mania swept America in the last couple of decades, you were probably a gigantic dork about the other British science fiction sensation Red Dwarf. Charles is thus immediately recognizable as the main character of that show, Dave Lister, a lazy technician on a mining craft that is barely operational and crewed by a bunch of maniacs. Red Dwarf rules, quite frankly.
I can't. It's old, ugly BBC.
It's the shit that they would run on PBS here.
Yeah.
And so like they would run like 4 hours of Doctor Who, and then they would run like 4 episodes of that, and then maybe the young ones if it didn't have a musical number that they had to license.
Did they stop doing that? Because I remember Comedy Central used to play all the music.
Comedy Central had money, man.
I don't know about that. Not then.
Yep. If you're younger and significantly more English than the two of us, then you probably know Craig as Lloyd Mulaney from his run as one of the principals in the soap opera Coronation Street. And just like his portrayal here, the Beeb frequently brought him around when they needed a lighter touch with a big personality to talk to people in the street or keep the panel laughing on any given panel show.
He's annoying.
Yeah.
I think that's his job. Like, his job is to be annoying. He's very good at what he's doing, the character that he's doing, but he's obnoxious in this movie.
Yeah. So this year Haunting is based on the Enfield poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
A really, really sad hoax perpetuated by some young girls who craved some stability in the house and found it in the constant presence of paranormal investigators.
Wait, do you mean to tell me that these two girls were not really being haunted by poltergeists?
I know. Control yourself.
That the most documented case of paranormal activity in all of the United Kingdom?
Holy shit, man.
Is a hoax?
There is that one photo of the girl
jumping on the bed,
levitating across the room, and it is very clearly a photo of her jumping off of her bed. To even the most seasoned eye,
yeah,
it is a picture of a little girl leaping from her bed and screaming. There are other frames of her doing that as well, and it has never been more fucking clear to me. I can't imagine who would have looked at that and thought, oh shit, this place is haunted, except
I can think of two people.
I can think of two people, actually. It was a pair of investigators who were desperately credulous and one of them was reeling from the loss of a daughter, and it all kind of makes sense in a really sort of sad way.
Yeah, I did this for Morbid last year, and the story, when you look at it in its sort of totality, it's a pretty sad story. Just all around, nobody really wins. Everybody kind of loses in some way.
A lot of it, mostly because the setting is so desperate and poor. It reminds me of the Doris Bither case, which has a very, very similar sort of background here, where it's like a couple of investigators who just were desperate for something.
Yep.
And they hung around way fucking longer than they should have. And they strung everybody along. And there was like all these people in this fucking house that was like literally rotting on the fucking foundation.
Yep.
Just desperate for some kind of stability in their life.
Yeah. It's a pretty sad one.
Yep. So this was originally part of the BBC anthology film series Screen One. This was actually kind of shoehorned into that originally, because the initial pitch to the creative crew was, or rather to the original pitch to the BBC was a 6-part limited series, in the same way that like everything on the BBC is like 6 episodes and then they're done.
I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, the BBC shot them down. They were like, there's no way you can sustain this for 6 episodes.
Right. And but also the intention was not like what we got. It was supposed to be scripted and dramatic. It was supposed to be something kind of like the Stone Tape.
Yeah, which is not a great movie.
It's interesting.
Series,
it's very interesting.
Got a great soundtrack.
Hell yeah. Screen One was something that was just a slot on the BBC broadcast schedule between 89 and 98. And it was just like made for TV movies of a particular type.
Specifically drama.
Yeah. Yep. And this one was just kind of like shoehorned into the schedule and like stuffed in there at Halloween. It was like the season 4 finale, I believe.
Yeah, he said, Stephen Volk said that when they shot him down for the 6-part thing, he was like, all right, how about we just do the last part, the last episode, which was supposed to be this sort of, the whole thing was leading up to what is essentially this movie, the live broadcast of the real investigation or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole thing would be like, it was all patterned after Nigel Neal stuff. So
so it's miserable.
Extremely dour, very,
mean
very English.
And grumpy.
Everything comes apart in the end. Everything goes crazy, like at the end of Quatermass in the Pit. Or Life Force.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also, a thing that I loved about this is Stephen Volk wanted there to be a high-pitched audio track during certain parts that was it was basically like a dog whistle that would make all of your pets go nuts when they played the sound.
That's
so that it
great.
so that it would like coincide with the parts like the sounds of the cats freaking out and shit like that. And then like the people at the BBC like audio lab was like, I hate to break it to you, dude, but the technology doesn't work that way. We can't broadcast those frequencies.
Yeah, you have to be in the presence of that noise in order to be affected by it. But also at the same time, they were probably like, also, that seems immoral. Unethical at best.
Like if the movie as it is had the effect on the public that it did, could you fucking imagine if they were playing like mind games like Stanford Prison Experiment shit on the
that is
public?
Sonic Warfare.
So here are some actual true things about this because a lot of it is, as we get into this and talk about it a little bit more, are going to be sort of blown up by the sort of the tabloid press and the BBC. So 11 million people did watch this when it aired. That's a lot of motherfuckers. I can't remember how many people watched Threads when it aired, but it was like in the neighborhood of that. They have a phone number running through it at the during the movie so that you can call in and tell them your ghost story. Received 1 million calls on the night of the broadcast.
And now the thing about the ghost story thing is it was a real number, and
that was the usual number that you could call for like call-in segments to the BBC.
And so you do hear people telling their ghost stories, but they're all scripted and they're all done by actors.
Yeah. So when you did call this, what would happen is you'd get a recording that's like, hi, thanks for watching Ghostwatch. It's fake. Don't worry. Leave a message at the beep. And then that was it basically.
Yeah.
The tabloids were outraged and pushed a very angry narrative that the BBC had lied to viewers, which I think is the sort of kernel that lies at the center of all this. Is
Well, I'm going to tell you that is not true whatsoever.
no shit.
They did not lie to anybody.
Well, no, they did not. They did not. But the narrative was that they did, and that they put these people on. They put these people on TV to sort of sell this story. Who you turn to for the news, which again, not necessarily true. These are people.
Well, especially in this time slot, you would not have turned to this for the news. You would have turned to this knowing that you were going to watch a film.
Yeah,
like that's what was on at this, and that we can't. Again, we live in an era of
I do
streaming.
wonder how many people were actually aware of that. Like, we're cognizant of the fact that...
It sounds like that was a very, by this time, like that was a well-established thing. Like right now, what I was about to say is we live in this era of streaming where like, we don't know, like, who remembers fucking regular terrestrial cable when you could just like, you'd know what was on at a particular time. But this was 1992. There weren't a lot of channels. And so you knew, especially in the UK, where they have like a small number of channels, like you would know in 92 what's on Fox at,
Oh, right. Yeah. It's like, shit, one of the millions of like divorced dad.
Yeah. They're not going to
sitcoms is on Fox right now. I'm not going to watch that. I'm going to watch
with a dead wife.
I'll watch Cheers instead.
Yeah, and you know where to find these things. You knew what was on, but also, more important than that, is there is a production note that preceded this movie that literally said, this is a work of fiction. This is a dramatic presentation. This is not real. So all the people that were like, they tricked us. And it's like, they didn't trick you. You're just fucking dumb or you tuned in late.
Right.
Because the real attitude around this movie is very much like, how dare the BBC trick so many stupid people? I mean, there's a great quote from the woman, Gillian Bevan, who plays Dr. Pascoe in this. And she said the reaction that it got was because a lot of people felt stupid. And I think that is 100% true.
Yeah.
They felt like they had been taken and they were angry because they felt a little silly. And they wanted to direct that anger at somebody.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. There were a lot of panel shows following this broadcast, which featured the Ghostwatch creative team while the public yelled at them on TV. Mm-hmm. You can find all of them on YouTube. There is a documentary that you can only find in pieces on YouTube, unfortunately, called Behind the Curtains.
Yeah, it's from the original DVD release.
Yeah. And there was one suicide, which can be conclusively tied to Ghostwatch.
Sort of.
Well, yeah. Well, so I now present to you the sad tale of Martin Denham. Mm-hmm. So Denham was 18 when Ghostwatch was broadcast, and he was obsessed with it. According to his family, he was hypnotized by it.
It should be said up top.
Wait. I'm going to get there.
Okay.
So, yeah, it preoccupied his every thought, and 5 days after the special aired, he committed suicide by hanging. And this is one of Ghostwatch's most enduring legacies, a story that informs the listener that this was the real deal and that people took it very seriously. Now, in reality, Martin Denham was developmentally disabled. Mm-hmm. According to all the sources that I'd seen, they described him as having the mental age of a 13-year-old. Mm-hmm. And was so disturbed by what he thought was actually taking place on the screen that he couldn't get it out of his head. And because the things that were happening in the movie were very much like the things he was afraid of in his house. Like the noises he heard and the things that frightened him in his house was what was going on the screen. Right. So what we're going to find out is we talk about the movie is the ghost gets nicknamed Pipes because of all the banging and shit. And the girl's mother tries to sort of soothe them by saying, don't worry, it's the pipes, it's the heating. And so in his own house, the heating did that. And so he was like, oh shit, Pipes is haunting my house now. There's no escape. And he found one way out, unfortunately.
And that's mostly kind of true, but it's not really true. It sounds like he was also a very troubled boy who did not have a lot of friends or any friends for that matter. What he did leave a note. I'm not going to read it because it's really fucking sad, but it's very simple. But
it's very lyrical too.
But he basically is the implication is that like, hey, don't worry about it because I don't have to be here anymore and be sad and scared all the time. And because ghosts are real, then I'll see you again. And like that was sort of the takeaway from all of this. And it's like, all right, he maybe got he didn't get the idea that ghosts are real from Ghostwatch, but because he thought it was real, it seemed like more proof of the validity of the supernatural. And so he gets sort of it blows up. And then of course when he dies, like anybody would want, his parents wanted an explanation. They wanted someone to be held responsible for this tragedy. That is basically like you can't really hold anybody. It's just it's what makes it a tragedy. It's like nobody did anything, but they filed a bunch of complaints with the Broadcast Standards Committee, and all because they were among several dozen people filed these complaints alleging some harm from this program, and they all the Broadcast Standards Committee reviewed them all, rejected them all. But the what is it, Denhams? Is that there? Yeah, the Denham family, they appealed this to the court, and the court essentially overruled it and said, no, you have to review this and give us an explanation for what happened. And so they did end up having a hearing, and the conclusion is, it's a bit long, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but like the conclusion is essentially that like the BBC in their way tried to sort of deceive people by presenting this as though it is a real program. And that as a result, some people did believe it was and then acted accordingly. That was really all that the committee and the court was willing to say.
That's all you can really
right.
Sort of end up at, because it's not like they engaged in this maliciously. They did it as like a let's have a little fun on Halloween shit.
Mm-hmm. And I will add that for weeks and months leading up to this, there are articles in the newspaper periodically about this production, about the people that are starring in it. They're giving interviews with it. Stephen Volk is giving interviews.
Yeah. They shot, I believe they shot all of the on location North of London neighborhood house stuff like months ahead of the shoot in the studio.
Yeah.
And so like people,
because they had to be outside.
Yeah. Like people knew what they were doing.
Yeah. And there's just tons of articles, like going back at least a year, I was finding articles that were just like, production notes or like things about like coming soon or actual interviews because the people in it are so famous. Mm-hmm. And so there are, if you just flip through the main papers, the Times or even fucking the tabloids, like the Daily Mirror and the fucking Evening Standard and whatever, they all had articles that were like, here's a thing that's going to happen in October. And so this idea that they sprang this on people is a lie. It's not true at all. They didn't spring this on people. If you didn't happen to catch those and happen to miss the very first frame of the movie that's like, hey, idiots, this isn't real, then okay, maybe you might for a second be like, hey, what is this? But if you spend more than, 10 minutes watching this movie, you realize this is not real. This is a dramatic production, even though it has familiar people in it. We do this, we see stunt casting all the time now. But when I see fucking Jake Tapper or like Andrew Cuomo show up in some action movie, I'm not like, oh shit, this is really happening.
It's like whenever Brian Williams would show up on 30 Rock.
Yeah, it's like, and granted, this is 1992. It's people were a little less savvy maybe with the media back then, but like.
Well, okay, that is interesting to point out because like in a lot of ways, this is a sort of prototype for stuff that would eventually become pretty common. But again, like the thing, I can't fault people necessarily for getting kind of sucked into it. It's this thing on Halloween and it features people who don't do this.
Well, but they kind of did. I mean, you just said that one fucking dude is from, what is it? The Red Dwarf?
No, but what I mean is these are like, I mean, with the exception of Craig Charles, who was always kind of like dragged out to be this sort of funny
they
man.
are appearing in their official capacities.
Right. And so that is that. I mean, and the thing about the BBC announcers, it was kind of like the BBC has its own accent.
Yeah.
it's kind of like the mid-Atlantic accent where it's not from anywhere. Like in order to talk and announce the news and shit on
look
the
up
BBC,
anything. Look up any interviews with Caddy K.
Right, it's called
BBC
received pronunciation, and it's a very specific way of talking so that people could sort of clearly understand what you're saying.
Well, they also had those. So those are like official standards, but they also had other standards for the kind of the IP, if you will, the logo and the brand, and that was like you couldn't use the news vans, like the news trucks. You couldn't use the ones that they would normally use in dramatic productions, which is why when you see them in the news vans and all, because there are shots in this movie of them outside around this stuff. It's not the normal BBC trucks. They had to use these sort of like auxiliary ones because they weren't allowed to use the regular ones per the BBC's own, sort of production regulations.
Yeah. And so that kind of coupled with the fact that it's taking place on Halloween, it's fun. It starts out very fun. I can definitely see why people were so easily taken in by it.
I can't. If you watch this for any length of time, it is so obviously
if somebody
not
were
real.
to do this nowadays, no fucking way. We're all so goddamn jaded and cynical. We'd see through it in a second.
Yeah. I mean, and this was a thing. Like, this was a popular theme, I think, in the early 90s. There's an episode of, so I think there were local channels that used to do shit like this, where they would spend the night in they'd run a movie marathon and they'd spend the night in like a haunted hotel or some bullshit like that. But you remember the episode of Tales from the Crypt with
Morton Downey Jr.
Morton Downey. Yeah,
I love that episode.
And yeah, so like it's that, like this was a pretty popular trope, I think, in the 80s and 90s. And so on one hand, yeah, I can see people looking at it, for the first time and saying, "Wait, what is this thing? Let me sit down and keep watching this. This can't be real." I can't believe. Well, no, that's not true. I can believe, but I don't think as many people were genuinely taken by it as the news would have implied. And because the Daily Mirror's biggest thing was they got so many people that wrote to them that were like, yeah, we all know this is fake. I don't know why you keep saying that people think this is real. Now, there were people, whenever you're ready, I've got a bunch of different quotes from people, but
oh no, I'm pretty much done with my notes on this.
So the initial show airs, whatever fucking date it was,
October 31st,
that's
1992.
Right. When's Halloween this year? So it airs and people watch it. And then afterwards, a bunch of people get a little upset and call in. Not a million people, but a lot of people called. And I mean, it is I think what is going to be instructive is one of the first quotes that I have. And so this is from a letter to the editor of a reader from the Evening Post.
The old gray lady.
The old gray post. It says, having refused to watch the program, I cannot comment on its contents, but only on its chosen subject matter. As a Christian, I am all too aware of the dangerous effects of the occult can have on people, and so to trivialize the supernatural in the way the BBC did is disgusting. And I wrote his name down as Mark Hopkins, Christian. And it's like, so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I heard about this and I think it's terrible that they would trivialize this. And it's like, you didn't watch it though. You just heard about it, you fucking dummy.
Hey, the ghosts, evil, it all springs from Satan.
That's right. Here's a quote from a man named Peter Jackson. He is an older viewer from
He made the Lord of the Rings.
Middlesex. He made the Lord of the Rings. He said, it's disgusting. The BBC is making a joke of this. Now, I find this very interesting that we are coming through a period of interest in the paranormal that by this point has really kind of, the wheels have come off completely. Nobody's taking this shit seriously, except for when you make them feel a little stupid. And then all of a sudden they're real pissed because they believe this is something sacred. It's like, all right, everybody needs to fucking calm down. I'm sorry you felt a little silly. Now, here is a quote from the Black Country Evening News. and this is a psychiatrist. The program might have seriously affected thousands of emotionally vulnerable viewers. One immediately thinks of the War of the Worlds radio hoax in America
Oh my God, shut
in the
the fuck
1930s. Oh, but hey, ghosts had the potential to have a greater impact as it was on TV. First of all, ghosts aren't real, so shut up. Second of all, the idea that the War of the Worlds caused billions and millions and trillions of people to shit their pants collectively and run out and bury all their gold in the backyard is also a myth. There were, like this movie, a bunch of people who did actually think the War of the Worlds was real. The vast majority of listeners understood that it was not, primarily because the guy presenting it was extremely famous.
It's what the thing is like, yeah, like a lot of this, there is a strategy in hyping your shit.
Yeah.
If you want people to take you seriously, be like, this is the guy who fooled all these people, scared all these motherfuckers. You want to put that shit at the top of your fucking resume in bold letters. I scared all of these motherfuckers, and you want to inflate those numbers like crazy and sensationalize every single headline. It's just not necessarily true.
No, and it wouldn't have really mattered that much back then because they weren't going to rerun this. So here is from Jane Williams. She is a resident of Leeds. I think it is irresponsible of the BBC to disguise the hoax Ghostwatch as a proper investigation of the supernatural. Supernatural is hyphenated. Stupid.
A dummy.
My reaction to such filth is to boycott the BBC. Well, lady, you're going to love America in 2025. But now here's another one.
She's probably got really strong feelings about fucking Ozzy Osbourne, too.
Yeah, she does. Here's another one. My daughter and I were petrified by Ghostwatch, and I loved it. Michael Parkinson and Sarah Green were superb. So a lot of people wrote in to the Daily Mail and to all these fucking tabloid papers who, let's be fair, these are garbage newspapers. These aren't even newspapers. They're tabloids.
Oh, no,
They're
these are newspapers that also have naked ladies on page 3.
And so a lot of people wrote in to be like, you all keep saying that everybody was tricked by this. And they were like, we watched this knowing that it was not real. So I don't know why you all keep saying that. And because the reality was a bunch of people did think it was real. Most people didn't.
Yeah.
Because they're not stupid. Like, this is so obviously an act. Like, it is a very well-made movie. I think the acting, for the most part, is very good, with the exception of the little girls. They're a little... But,
I love the girls.
But I think, like, just by and large, they had very little resources to make this movie. It is extremely effective. It's a very interesting exercise, and it's something that really hadn't been done before. We are now, awash in fucking terrible found footage movies. This isn't quite a found footage movie, but it's close.
Yeah. It's in the spirit of.
Yeah, and it is extremely successful at what it does. It is a dramatic production that is pretty engaging. It has some pacing problems for the
Oh, that's my biggest complaint about the movie is it's 90 minutes and 70 of those minutes are slow as fuck.
Yeah. But when it kicks off, it kicks the fuck off, and it is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of this stuff really was just kind of much ado about nothing, but not nearly as big a deal as people like to remember it being. Like, they did get kind of abused when it came out because the angriest people are always the loudest people.
Yeah. Yeah. That comment about people feeling stupid, that really does bring it all into perspective.
I mean,
it's like, guys, come on, just fucking chill. Have a little fun with yourselves.
But that's, if you go back and look at the history of paranormal, the development of the spiritualist communities and just kind of paranormal investigation, that field of study, you will see this over and over again. The Fox sisters, which is like the three girls technically, that kind of kick off the supernatural, the interest in the supernatural in America. They have this huge career where they're touring around claiming to communicate with spirits. And then eventually people realize this is not true, that they're faking this whole thing. And they learn that because one of the sisters, incidentally, the one who wasn't famous anymore, informed the press that the whole thing was a hoax. And for a while, people were like, no, it was totally real. And then eventually they couldn't really say that anymore. And everybody got fucking pissed and turned on all these girls. And we're like, how dare you? And it's like, hey, man, you're the fucking idiot who believed this was real.
Yeah, yeah.
These are just two teenage girls trying to make a buck.
They got that grind set.
Yeah, rise and grind, bitches.
It is worth kind of pointing out that England also has had a very a relationship to the occult that the United States has not ever had. Most of what we recognize as the Western esoteric tradition comes from there. Wicca started in England. We've got the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and
right. It's all
Crowley, and it's all within recent memory as
it's
well.
It's late 19th century. It all starts around the late 19th century. It's when spiritualism sort of kicks off, and then Aleister Crowley takes it.
British Society for Psychical Research, so they've got a sort of predisposition to be a little bit more credulous than we might, because
we have a different tradition here. We have the scientific tradition, the quote unquote scientific interest in it, where you get people like J.B. Ryan, who was woefully unqualified to be investigating. Most of them are woefully unqualified to be investigating any of this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of psychology and philosophy is sort of the angle that they're coming at in England at the time. And because this movie is, I think Stephen Volk was like, oh, it's based on lots of different things. It's like, no, it's not. This is based almost entirely on the Enfield poltergeist.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a very long and involved story that goes on for way longer than you'd expect.
Yeah. You got anything else?
I do not, other than to say they were going to do a sequel.
Yeah, apparently Stephen Volk wrote a short story that's a bit of a sequel to this.
Yeah, they were going to take that and adapt it. What happens in that? I can't remember the name of the story, but
1031 is what it's called.
Yeah, so it's in a book. A book of short stories he wrote, and they were going to do a mini series, and it depicts what happens after the broadcast of this as the ghost sort of gets out into the world. And I think that a lot of the BBC was like, you know what? Last time it was a huge pain in the ass. We don't really feel like going through that again.
We're good.
It's not like people are already less stupid by 2000.
Yep. So shall we? Mm-hmm. Here we go. We open on the BBC studio, dressed up for just this special television event. BBC News announcer Michael Parkinson introduces the show.
It's old, ugly BBC.
It definitely is.
This is Tom Baker, BBC. This is not David Tennant, sexy David Tennant, BBC.
Yeah, for sure. He presents a house in Northolt, a town in West London that is allegedly the site of a series of unexplained phenomena. Behold this footage.
Also, I love when they cut to they show the bedroom set at this point, and this is so obviously a television set.
The bedroom?
Yeah. This looks like plywood walls. You could just knock this shit over.
Yeah, everything's a facade because it's all lit from above and shit. I wonder how much of that actual house interior was real.
It doesn't look like much of it because it looks like such a quick, a kind of slapdash thrown together thing. Now,
sure, yeah, it was on EastEnders just a week before before the production.
What I do think is kind of interesting about this particular version of the story, and again, they're going to try and be like, it's just an amalgamation of all these things. It's not. It's this one story, one of the big points of the original Enfield story is that they lived in extreme poverty.
Council housing, right?
Yes, council housing.
What is council housing?
It's public housing.
Because at one point she's like, we tried to write the council to have us move to have them move us, and I was like, shit, that's how that works.
Yeah, it's public housing. It's like Section 8 housing.
Section 8 stuff, yeah.
And so they were extremely poor, very, very poor, and the place they lived was pretty run down, pretty dilapidated. And in this movie, they're supposed to live in council housing again, but they don't present in any way like that's I hate to be specific, but a family at that time would have, people in extreme poverty. This woman is very well put together. She looks like a very professional woman. Not that people can't, but the reality
I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to find a nice way to say it.
You don't gotta walk on eggshells on.
But but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
In the actual Enfield,
she doesn't look British poor.
Yeah, and she doesn't look like an unemployed single mother of 4 children like the actual story. It's this woman looks extremely well put together.
Yeah. Yeah, because when they do show you the exterior, like the neighborhood, it's like, oh shit, we're in that part of England.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we look at this footage. Two young girls in their room get ready for bed. They shut off the light, and after a time, the younger sister gets up and turns on the light and leaves the room. In her absence, some banging sounds fill the room, and when the sister returns, shit starts flying all over the place.
It's pipes! It's pipes!
Their mother arrives and brings them out of the room as the nightlight explodes. Mm-hmm. So we cut to the BBC News trucks loading up to hit the streets. Parkinson welcomes us to the first ever BBC paranormal investigation in an attempt to capture conclusive proof of ghosts. As the story unfolds, they'll also be taking phone calls to hear the stories from viewers.
And so, like you said, this was based on Crime Watch, and Crime Watch was a little bit, it was like, not quite Unsolved Mysteries. It's a little bit like America's Most Wanted. It's more like that. But it was like like a live call-in show, and they would use it to like try to get tips from the public on like the Yorkshire Ripper.
Shit.
Like that was one of the ways that they sort of got closer to arresting fucking Peter, what's his face, the Yorkshire Ripper, was that because of Crime Watch. So these shows were very effective because so many people watched them. Yeah. So this is just sort of a riff on that, which I think is kind of I think it's a cute nod to that stuff.
I love it. Mm-hmm. So now we cut to the house. Craig Charles, the guy from Red Dwarf, is our man on the street, and he introduces the situation at hand. He introduces the mother in the house, Pam, and he's all big energy and personality, and it's a little exhausting.
Yeah, this woman is clearly distraught in some way, and he will spend all of his time in this movie basically mocking her. And you know what? That feels right. That feels like that's what would have happened.
Probably. So yeah, we also are introduced to Mike Smith, who's in the studio man in the phone banks, ready for your calls. You can call into 081-811-8181 to tell your story.
And he was the host for the Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
This guy looks like William F. Buckley.
It's England. It's post-Thatcher.
Oh, man. My note is literally, Sarah Green was married to this guy?
I know. He's so dopey.
She's way out of his league.
So Mike is on hand because his wife, Sarah Green, is the lady on location. She'll be spending the night in the haunted house to capture evidence as it happens.
There is kind of a cute story where she says she was reading the script, looking it over to decide whether she wanted to do it. And he was like reading over her shoulder. It was like, hey, is there a part for me in this?
Yeah.
It was kind of nice.
I know. They're like, you ever watch Tim and Eric?
It's been quite a long time, but yeah.
the Married News?
I don't know.
That's all I can think of is Married News. Back at the house, Craig talks to the Earleys. Pam describes the phenomena: bad smells, broken dishes, spontaneous stains, etc. Also in the studio is Dr. Lynn Pascoe, a professional parapsychologist, and she'll be giving her expert commentary as things happen.
Is she the one from the Society for Psychical Research?
I believe so.
I do like that they use the actual names of organizations, because Psychop is going to get
Psychop is also in this,
a name check in this as well.
Yeah.
And you know that guy is either James Randi or Joe Nickel.
Because he is such a fucking buzzkill.
Which means he's probably James Randi.
Back to the house, we meet Sarah, who seems to have her own ghost story to tell. She banters with her husband and then introduces Alan, the tech guy from the Society for Psychical Research.
Oh, sure. Her ghost story that she tells is apparently a true story.
It's her real ghost story. Yeah, she riffed that.
And Sarah is incredibly charming.
Yeah, I love her.
Like, she is giving you, like, you can see why she had a kids show, because she is warm. She's very inviting. She's very energetic. She's poppy,
she's a rich, regular, normal man.
She is just innocent Sarah Green.
Innocent Sarah Green. Yep. He takes us into the truck to show us the gear. There's cameras in every room, sensors to sort of take metrics of atmospherics. Tech stuff.
Yeah, I have a note that says the carpeting on the stairs is triggering. How did you feel about the carpeting on the stairs?
I could feel it in my fingers.
Cheap. Very cheap.
That's every house that we grew up in up to a certain point.
Yep.
Yeah. They also have their cameraman, Chris, and his special infrared camera that seems like it's going to play an important role later on. Get ready to be disappointed.
Oh, Chris, we hardly knew ye.
So now into the house we go. The girls are in the kitchen bobbing for apples because it's Halloween. And anything can happen on Halloween.
Yeah, even bobbing for apples.
Even bobbing for apples.
In the council house.
At the studio, Parkinson talks to Pascoe about how they chose the house to investigate, and we get some bullshit about how they narrowed it down to this house mathematically. It is statistically the most haunted house in the nation, we're told.
I would like to see that data, please.
Yeah, it's just like we had like all this information, all these haunted houses all across Britain, and we chose this one. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why? Why this one?
Doesn't matter.
They've been covering it for a long time, you see. Sometimes nothing happens there for weeks, and then sometimes there are days when it doesn't stop.
The actual Enfield case did go on for like 2.5 years or something.
Well, I mean, the girls were indefatigable. Is that the right word?
They really were, yes.
They take their first call from a lady in Slough.
Slough.
Yeah, she wants to tell her story, but she saw something in the first reel that they ran past as the girls were going to sleep. She says that there was a woman standing in the room in a black dress, something that is definitely not in that shot when we saw it.
Isn't it though?
They're going to rewind the video that shot, and they're going to review it later on. That is because we got other stuff to do.
Well, I have a big issue when they do that.
This is an element of the movie that I do love a lot because they do it. Later on, they're going to spool up that video. We're going to see it again, and we see pipes, and then we don't see pipes, and they're relying on the fact that you're probably you can't just rewind this shit on your own.
Well, and also you're watching it in what fucking 480 or whatever.
You're watching it through a fucking beer mug.
Yeah, I mean it's not, but like I do love these moments where they'll go back and do this because what they're actually doing, and you don't really recognize this until the end of the movie, and these are the things that I always find really interesting that nobody would ever have noticed this. They didn't have to do this, but they're essentially seeding these things into this story about how what they're doing, this investigation, is starting to affect people outside of this house.
Yeah,
people
it's such
watching
a great
the
idea.
show.
It's such a great. That's the part of this of Ghostwatch that I like is that it's not just like here's a ghost in a haunted house and shit. It's oh shit, we have unleashed this on the entire country.
It's extremely clever.
Idea.
And it's very thoughtful. And there's, like I said, he didn't have to do that. There's no way anybody would have picked up on most of that. By the end, you start to see what they're doing. Yeah. But it happens throughout the whole movie. Like this little note where it's like, hey, somebody just saw him in this frame. And they go back to watch it. And of course, the first time you watch it, yes, he is there. But they're like, no, he's not there at all.
No, but in this instance, when they first show that reel, Pipes is not in the shot. I can
really?
Conclusively not in the shot.
I remembered him being there. But either way, it's like, I just love that they're taking the time to like all these little moments.
Yeah. Because they want you to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
You know. So, back in the house, they can hear some banging in a nearby cupboard. Sarah goes to check it out, and Craig leaps out in a rubber mask, much to the delight of the girls.
You son of a bitch.
Motherfucker.
You fucking showboat.
Camera wasn't paying enough attention to you, was it, Craig?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Sarah is unamused, and so was I. How dare you do this to my poor Sarah?
Yeah. Well, don't worry, because these little girls, she's like, hey, let me show you my picture that I drew. And Sarah's like, oh, it's a good picture, isn't it? And I was like, is it? Is it Sarah? Because I can't even tell if that's a person.
No, but that's why she's got a children's show. She's got to be encouraging,
that's
even
true.
if it is a gory little man, evil ghost man.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're looking at Susie's workbook from school, and she's like drawing dicks in it. Susie's a little saucy, isn't she?
Is that what that is? Let's put that off when we get there. Because there's an exchange when she's like, I was so angry I was going to hit her. And I was like, because she drew in her fucking notebook?
Yeah, she's drawing dicks.
Yeah. So when the funny shit is over, Sarah takes us through the house, explaining the history of the location. Up in the girls' room, we hear about the first instance. The girl,
before they go upstairs, they're walking through the kitchen, and she says, he lives under the stairs.
Yes.
And it's such a great detail. unfortunately, they're going to keep referring to it
Yeah,
as
hang on that. Yeah, let's put a pin in that. Let's
okay. Because by the end, I was like, you got to stop calling it that, man.
Might be why your husband left you.
That's something else now.
When the funny shit is over, Sarah takes us through the house, explaining the history of the location. Up in the girls' room, we hear about the first instance. The girls were going to bed and thought that their mother came in to tuck them in. But instead of doing anything, she just left the room without a word. And then Pam confirms this. She fell asleep in front of the TV, so it couldn't have been her in the room.
No.
In Pam's room, she explains that she heard all this banging. It upset the girls, so to calm them down, she told them that it was pipes. The pipes in the wall making all the noise. So they started calling the ghost Pipes. The youngest sister, Kim, points out the spot in the room where Pipes hides, behind the curtains next to the window.
Sneaky bastard.
That motherfucker. You never know when he's going to be there.
Well, you do. He's a giant man wearing a dress.
Yeah. So then she takes the crew downstairs and points out the glory hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
The glory hole. We might call it a crawl space under the stairs, but right now it's all boarded up.
Nope.
The glory hole.
One of the previous tenants used to develop his photos in the glory hole.
The previous tenant was her ex-husband.
Who used to develop his photos in the glory hole.
In the glory hole.
My note?
Spent a lot of time
you
in the
saucy thing.
Spent a lot of time in the glory hole, he did.
Oh, Lord.
So Kim saw Pipes, the ghost in there, staring at her through the crack in the glory hole.
Now, they don't really go into the story about the mother and her husband. They make a couple allusions to it.
Yeah, they kind of reference it. I don't know why they even bothered to include it. It seems to imply way more than it ultimately amounts to.
Well, I think this is one of those moments where he's leaning on the actual story, the real story, in which their father leaving is it's the thing that kicks off the whole event. It's a huge part of the story. And so I think he's probably put it in there because of that, and then realized, well, wait, that's not really the kind of movie I want to make.
Yeah.
And so he sort of quickly veers away from it. Like it would have been interesting to go down that road a little bit, because it does play a big part of the actual story, but this format doesn't lend itself to that.
Right.
And so you can't, how do you pursue that in a documentary format? I don't think you can.
Kim saw Pipes the ghost in there staring at her through the cracks. Then she shows us a picture that she drew of him. His face appears all bloody and is wearing some kind of a long coat. So they put it up on the refrigerator.
Hey, what else would you do?
I mean, that's where I'd put it. Pam then shows us a school book belonging to Susie. Some of the pages are all scribbled up, and then one of them has a drawing of Pipes. Mom was
and dicks.
I got to go back and watch. I watched this twice in the last couple of minutes. I saw no dicks.
It's like a crude drawing of penises.
Okay.
Like it's not like the guy from Marauder who used to. That's a real deep cut for everybody who has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yep. The original beat down hardcore band. The singer loved drawing dicks. So, Mom, I was so mad at her, I almost hit her. It was like, shit, lady.
Look, she's a saucy young thing. You know, she's becoming a lady.
This mother is just so put upon.
It really is.
Yeah, Susie didn't write this, though. It was Pipes.
Fucking liar.
Yeah. In the studio, lots and lots of calls are coming in from viewers claiming that they could see someone standing in the frame of the reel where the girls are going to bed. So they put it up, and sure enough, as soon as the lights go off, you can see the shape of someone standing in the spot that Kim said that Pipes hides in.
In the fucking glory hole.
Not in the glory hole.
Oh, no, upstairs.
Yeah, this is upstairs.
We'll see Pipes in the glory hole later, if you know what I mean. Hey-o.
So Parkinson and Pasco don't see anything, though. They step through it again, and Pipes is definitely not there in the shot this time.
And when you do actually see him, you really can't. It's just the outline of a guy.
It's a vague outline, yeah. But I love it. It's spooky.
Because he's a big guy, so it's like you can't miss him. Mm-hmm. And he is actually wearing a dress.
So they cut back, and the shape is there by the window again. So they bring over some sort of light pen that Pasco uses to outline the shape by the window, dismissing it as shadows. But, we know what's up.
Mm-hmm. It's a man in a dress.
We cut back.
And that dress, Nina Garcia would call that dress mumsy.
It's what do you call those things? Muumuus? It's a muumuu.
It is a little. It's a kind of a movement. It's a little the Mama Cass.
Yeah.
Something comfy. Breezy.
Keep you warm in the cold months. Mm-hmm. We cut back to the house where Sarah interviews Pam about the worst things that have happened there. They talk about the glory hole again. Pam's ex-husband used to go down to the glory hole to develop photographs in the glory hole.
Listen, you can't be doing that. This is the whole point is anonymity, man. You gotta
just a normal man hanging out at the glory hole.
Innocent man.
When Pam went down to the glory hole this one time to get paperwork related to her divorce, she was trapped there in the glory hole with what she thought was another person. A man in the glory hole that she couldn't see.
Pam, that's kind of the point.
So she went to the council to try to get them moved to another place. A social worker called them crazy. It drew the attention of the press, who portrayed them as stupid and or crazy. So Pam turned to television to make things better. We see a clip of them on TV talking about it.
Oh, is this when they show the scientific investigation of the voice?
I think that's coming up soon, but no, this is just them being interviewed on some TV show. It's a real Ed and Lorraine Warren moment.
And would it surprise you to know that Ed and Lorraine Warren are briefly involved in this story?
Not even a little bit, because fucking Conjuring 2 makes that investigation all about them.
They were there for about 15 minutes.
They were like, there's no book in this.
Pretty much. The people were like, Mommy, we don't like her. I'm like, I get it.
Neither do I.
Her husband's a weirdo and he keeps staring at me.
So Pam leaves the house to go chill in a mini studio to talk to callers or something. Parkinson and Pascoe check in with her. The press is really giving them shit and making their lives miserable. So this is their way to kind of clear the air and prove that they're not crazy. Lady, you're just making it worse.
They do every fucking time in all these stories. No, listen, if people are like,
Smurls did this.
People are like, why do you know so much about this? I know about literally every fucking haunting story that's ever been told in America, I think. And every single one of them plays out exactly the same way, where they're like, well, I guess our only recourse is to go to the press. It's like, did you honestly think that would get you anything other than what Ed and Lorraine Warren told you that they wanted?
Yeah.
Never goes well.
Don't go to the press, people. Don't fucking go to the press. So they get a call from Sandra, who tells a story of her haunted house. The story's a real fucking dud.
Yeah, not a lot of good ones. These stories are real, though. Well, again, they're claims from BBC callers.
Especially the one who's like, me and my mates were watching the show and the sandwich went flying.
Yeah, they're all real. They're all real stories. They're actors who are reading them, but
that's fucking fantastic. Next, Parkinson and Dr. Pascoe talk about her book that I think is a document of the haunting in question. And they run some footage from their initial investigations, including footage of Susie being subjected to the Gansfeld experiment, which is a sensory deprivation experiment in which the subject dictates the thoughts or visuals that occur to them while under a state of mild deprivation.
It's pointless and useless. It tells you nothing.
In this case, a voice comes from Susie, which is not hers. And they play a recording of one session where shit's banging and breaking and the girls are screaming. And when it goes quiet, a horrible voice emerges from Susie, which recites nursery rhymes. Something that happened to one of the girls at the Enfield haunting, where a ghost named Bill would speak through her.
It is genuinely chilling.
When there was, I remember when I first heard the Bill recordings.
Oh, well, those are fake.
I know, but they're still spooky and scary as hell.
So what they're doing here, because they say, well, how did you know that she wasn't just faking it? And she says, we filled her mouth with colored liquid and sealed her mouth with tape. Jesus Christ. We held her nose until she stopped kicking.
Listen, this is a scientific investigation. You got to cover your fucking bases.
So what actually happens in the Enfield? Because a lot is made of this, where it's just like, you know, they're saying
possibly have made this sound. It's like, I don't know, man.
Well, a bunch of like audio technicians had listened to in the Enfield case at the time, listened to it, and they were like, no, that's her. She's just doing it from a different part. Like when you speak from your larynx.
Yeah.
And they were like, she's speaking from her throat. So that's why it sounds gravelly. And then they were also like, and also listen to what she's saying. This is not what an adult would say to shock you. This is what a child thinks adults think is shocking.
Yeah.
Because it was just a lot of bad language or whatever.
Right.
But they did not, in fact, fill her mouth with colored liquid and seal it with tape. I do kind of wish they would, but in the movie, the audio that they play is really creepy. It's not just what he's saying, it's the way that he's saying it. It's like the sort of sing-songiness. It's because it's a nursery rhyme. And there's a sing-songiness to it, and it's this very it sounds like they slowed the audio down a little bit.
Round and round the garden, like a teddy bear.
Yeah, it's that. It's fucking creepy as hell, and I think they slow it down a little bit to make it sound even creepier. But when you see it come out of this little girl,
yeah,
it's kind of awesome.
So they go over some objects from the house, stuff that broke not by impact, but by sudden temperature changes. Ooh. Watches also stop in the house. And there's also some bent spoons in case you'd forgotten about Uri Geller.
Mm-hmm. You know who hated Uri Geller?
James Randi.
James Randi. Really hated him.
Yeah. So they cut back to the house where Sarah is playing a board game with the girls. Susie explains about the times when she wakes up and her face is covered in scratches. Dr. Pascoe explains that they've seen them spontaneously appear on her face in real time.
So this is probably the Roland Doe case, is what they're referring to.
He's the original exorcist.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they pretty much believe that he just scratched himself a bunch.
Yeah. So this is the point where I think Dr. Pascoe is like, now the poltergeist is centered on Susie, which, poltergeists aren't really hauntings in the way that we sort of understand them. It's usually supposed to be like psychokinetic energy emerging from a teenage girl, usually.
Mm-hmm.
No. Pam, she disagrees and thinks that this is a ghost.
And it's really awesome that there's this weird tension. The woman who plays Dr. Pascoe is really good.
Yeah.
She comes across, she's got this great, fried white lady 90s hair.
It's she paid for that perm.
Yeah.
Cool. It is tight and hanging on.
And she's really great, but they start to have this awkward tension between them. It's super uncomfortable.
Yeah. Next, we introduce Dr. Silvestri from Psychop.
Yeah. Three cheers for the cunts at Psychop.
Great big buzzkill in New York City. There to dispute the claims. How do we know he's in New York City? Why? There's a big poster of the city right next to him.
Oh, I thought you meant this is like a city person, if you know what I mean.
This dude is one big, gigantic human eye roll.
Yeah.
And he argues with Dr. Pascoe for a bit.
This feels like the guy they put in, was that movie I hated from a couple of years ago?
Oh, A Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, there's a similar character because they would go, James Randi in particular would go on talk shows a lot. He was a bit of a showboat, bit of a dramatic queen. But a lot of them would, a lot of the guys, specifically the guys from Psychop would go on TV. Joe Nickel also did it quite a lot. Joe Nickel was a little bit more respectful of people. James Randi was not. He would openly mock them.
Yeah.
And that's why this guy comes across as a kind of a jerk, though he does feel like he's got a bit of the Joe Nickel in him because he's a little bit reserved.
Right.
But
back at the house, we get the latest from Sarah, who tells her own personal story. A couple of years back, she and Michael were staying with friends when she was awoken from sleep by harpsichord music. Going back to sleep, she saw the face of an Indian woman being all spooky. Then she tells a sad story about colonialism and the Indian viceroy of the time whose concubine died in that very house. Because he couldn't bury her in a churchyard, he just dug a hole in the garden and threw her in there.
He buried his whores in the garden.
When she's done, she takes Kim up to her room for bed.
It's a silly story, but what I do like, just like the doctor and the mother, I do like that there is a lot of tension between everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
And it will only get worse as things go by, but there's this tension, these personalities are all kind of at odds with each other. Michael Parkinson, he is doing his best to be respectful of this woman, but you can tell
definitely skeptical.
Yeah, he is not really buying it. And occasionally eventually he'll just outright yell at her, but he's making kind of little quips and, she fires back at him and then she fires back at the Psychop guy. And she's like, can you show in a lab the effects of falling in love and poetic inspiration? And my note is, well, yes, actually you can.
She goes down and makes some coffee for the crew, remarking that she'd be happier if nothing happened at all. And the cameraman remarks that his watch stopped around the time that the broadcast started.
And this is when I start to constantly scan the room. Like I'm just every frame, I'm just
Constantly looking for pipes.
because I know that he's in the movie a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Also, you skipped over the fact that when they put the kids to bed, Sarah kisses the little girl.
I know.
Like you just met her.
She's very close to these girls all of a sudden. Back in the studio, we get another story from someone who is hiding their identity. He tells a story about how they were eating mackerel one time, and it was suddenly and mysteriously covered in saliva. Ghost spit. And then he found ghost spit on the doorstep. And then there was ghost spit on his shoes, and he started yelling at the ghost. And then there was ghost poo smeared all around the house.
And my note is, this guy's story sounds less like a ghost story and more like a guy whose neighbors hate him.
Yeah, there's some missing context here. Out on the street, Craig Charles takes up the block to see the community. We talk to Yvonne, the neighbor. She tells a story about a night when she heard all this banging and shit. They found the girls hiding outside. And then another lady tells a story of missing Judy Wayland and some murders that happened around the neighborhood.
Pin in that.
There's been some other nasty shit too. Murdered dogs and all that.
Yep. I like that it gets, because she's like, oh, it's England's answer to Amityville. Like, I like that there's kind of this nod to the hoax thing. Also, can we just say how much I enjoy the hoax as a verb? Like someone can be hoaxed.
Yeah.
I like that. But then we also get this other guy who's like, he's a rail guard, but he moonlights as an exorcist.
I love this guy. Yeah. As Craig turns to Arthur Lacey, an exorcist standing in front of the group, we see Pipes once again hiding among the people.
Okay, I missed that one.
Yep. He's in the crowd. No one seems to notice him. He's just there with his bloody face.
Yeah, see, now I probably missed it because I was too taken by the fact that Craig is walking down the sidewalk holding this man's arm.
Yep. Lacey explains that he, a spiritualist, tried to pray on the spot with the family to cleanse it. He was turned away by the overwhelming presence of evil at their house.
It's always the way.
Happened in Amityville. Parkinson cuts him off to go back to the house and check in with Sarah, where a strange wet circle appeared on the floor in the living room.
A perfect circle of urine.
Not
And
terribly.
she says, I thought maybe an old tomcat had got in. And I said, what?
Just peed in a perfect circle.
Where does that happen?
I know. Not terribly spooky, but since the movie has taken its fucking time getting to the goods, I will
Interesting
take it,
you
I
say
guess.
that. My next note says, okay, fine. This movie has a bit of a pacing problem.
Spontaneous water spouts was from, I think, a Warren haunting, but I can't remember which one.
It's from a lot of them.
Yeah.
The one I just wrote was a couple in Baltimore. It's a very, because it's an easy one.
Yeah.
But also, the water comes out of this faucet like a goddamn
Oh my
fire
God.
hose.
It's like if your fucking dishes are breaking, it might be the water pressure. So Kevin Tripp calls into the studio from Wales. He and his mates were watching the broadcast when his sandwich suddenly flew off the chair on its own. They cut back to the house where the more banging.
This is also when the parapsychologist, she's just like, now wait, don't hang up on him. And it's like, okay, lady, come on.
I want to hear more about this mackerel sandwich. They cut back to the house where more banging is heard. The crew rushes around to find the source of the noise. It's real quiet at first and grows in intensity. So they run downstairs to find the source, but only find papers scattered on the floor. A jump scare cat outside spooks Sarah. As the camera pans up, we can see Pipes reflected in the door behind the crew. More pounding.
That one I did. I did catch that one.
No, that one's hard to miss.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. More pounding draws the crew upstairs, but Parkinson busts in to tell them that something fishy is happening upstairs with Susie. So they sneak up and they use some of their hidden cameras to catch her in the act, pounding on the wall with a hammer.
Now, this is also very common in these stories. Surprise, because guess who's really doing it? But in Enfield in particular, but also like a lot of the William Roll cases involve the team like catching children doing this. What I wonder is, why interject this at all if you're not going to run it down anymore?
That's okay. That was my next sort of comment on that, is because this should have shut the whole thing down.
And it kind of does. It sort of turns everybody
It
a little bit.
derails it, but they kind of get it back on track. I think that this should have been way more significant than it was.
Yeah, much like the father thing. Like, if you're going to introduce this, you've put it here for a reason because it is important to the actual story, and it's important pretty much to all of these claims. And so it feels clumsy because they don't take any time to elaborate on it. Also, because ultimately they're going to establish that the haunting is real. So why bother with this at all?
I don't know. Maybe it's a sort of like if you're playing it along at home and you're aware of the Enfield haunting, because like that happened at the Enfield haunting, and they were like, well, not all of them were the girls making the noises, and they just kept investigating. And it's like, no, guys. Let me save you some fucking time. All of them were the girls.
Yep.
Got fucking duped by some teenage girls.
Yep. I do love though how everything in this movie is so analog because it's 1992.
Yeah. They wanted to shoot it in film, which I think would have diminished from its impact.
Yeah, I think if they did, if their intention was to sort of make it seem as realistic as possible, that really would have undermined it.
It would have, because I mean, it had to be video, because the fucking BBC shot like everything on video, unless they were doing location stuff.
It would have been too expensive on film. It would have looked expensive.
Yeah. So yeah, back in the studio, Dr. Pascoe is fucking crushed, and Parkinson is like, well, I guess that's that.
And she's like, no. Now listen.
Yeah,
stop it.
She immediately starts making excuses, and they cut back to the house to talk to the girls, who are super upset. Pam comes back in and asks why, and it turns into a mild breakdown. Nothing was happening.
She's like, what's wrong with Susie? And I wrote, Susie has a personality disorder.
Yeah, nothing was happening, so she gave them something to marvel at. And then there's something about Susie worrying that her mom was going to leave them or something.
Well, again, because this goes back to the father thing.
Yeah. So back in the studio, Parkinson returns to the big buzzkill himself, Dr. Silvestri, but he's not taking a victory lap.
He's just like, hey, whatever, man, I told you.
Over at the phone, Mike is receiving a lot of calls about the ghost that people saw in the shot from earlier.
I feel like Mike's the weak link of the team. He's just happy to be there.
They were like, well, shit, yeah, like maybe we can find something for Mike to do on the set.
Why not?
Yeah. They cut to another ghost story from a lady who wants to tell the story, but the video goes bad and they have to cut away, so they take another call. And so the caller is there to tell them that their big glass table just exploded as they were watching the show. Why are you doing this? And the clock in the house, that stopped too. So
my question is, why do you have a glass table in 1992?
Were you fucking fancy or something?
Yeah.
Parkinson.
My infinity table exploded.
Just hadn't finished paying it off at Rent-A-Center.
Oh.
Parkinson talks her down as has her put her kids to bed. It would seem that the haunting is starting to spread. So they bring up some old interview footage of Kim. She describes pipes, bald, an empty eye socket that's bloody, a jacked up nose, and he's wearing a long dress. Mm-hmm. The description matches what people have been calling in to report.
The flowing robes, bald. Glorious.
Glory hole.
Glory hole.
Yeah. Back in the house, things are getting weird. It's like Charlie Kelly's apartment at night. Just endless yowling of cats. So Susie is acting weird too. They go up and find her catatonic in a room covered in scratches. Sarah goes to the bathroom to get a cloth and is frightened by a sound behind the door. Back in the studio, they get a call from a viewer who has information about that neighborhood. There's an old local ghost story about a woman named Mother Seddons. The parents would scare the kids with stories about her. She was a childminder, a baby farmer.
Yeah.
She'd take care of foster kids, but would kill them. Now, were you aware of baby farmers?
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked this up and I was like, holy shit, this is real.
Yeah.
Baby farming was a real thing in England, and the reason that the practice was eventually stopped and taken over by the state was because the women who would take these kids in were fucking murdering them. Like murdering them, or they would die of neglect. But they were murdering them.
The woman who kicked off the welfare queen thing here in the 80s, remember that one particular woman? She did that.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. potentially hundreds of children were murdered by baby farmers by the 20th.
They didn't care because they were like either immigrants or poor or whatever.
Yeah.
Same reason we don't care about people here.
Holy shit. I'd never heard of that. I was fucking shocked. Mm-hmm. Yep. Turns out that she was a real person and was from that neighborhood.
And this particular phone call feels like the kick in the pants the movie needs, where they're just kind of like, all right, we gotta get this moving in some direction here, fellas.
Yeah, because we are rounding the corner. Back in the house, they're trying to get the girls out of the house. Kim struggles to stay there so she can talk to Pipes, who says that they have to stay. They can't leave, but they pull the girls out. And
there is no Kimmy, there is only Zool.
There's only Pipes. The banging returns. The cameraman takes one more quick pan around their room, and if you're quick, you can spot Pipes standing at the back of the room against the window. Ooh. And then he pans back quickly, and there's nobody there.
Oh, he's in the glory hole, too, in a minute.
Yep. Parkinson starts to announce that this might be all over soon. At the phone bank, Mike is reporting that clocks are stopping all over England. Electrical gear is breaking down. Dogs won't stop barking. Everyone is starting to experience some kind of spooky shit in their house. Things in the house are starting to break down. The sound is breaking up. Susie is huddled down behind a chair, and her mother's trying to coax her out.
Oh, this part's so cool.
Feedback forces Sarah to take her earpiece out as the banging turns into pounding. A picture flies off the wall. And Kim gives the crew the slip and disappears into the house. And then the camera pulls in tight on Susie, who is now speaking in a deep, deep voice, saying, "What big eyes you have."
So good.
It's fucking scary as hell. She is otherwise unresponsive until she snaps to it and says some nasty shit to her mom. Mm-hmm. Sarah is now elsewhere in the house looking for Kim, but can't find her. Lights are flickering in the kitchen. Faucet is running fucking full blast, where she finds Kim's stuffed rabbit, shuts the water off, and finds her hiding behind the open refrigerator door. Tries to talk to her, but the sound of cats freaking out stops her cold. Also, Kim presents she tore the rabbit's eyes out and gives them to her. And now the sound guy is trying to narrow down where the sound is coming from. As the walls start shaking all around them, he determines that the sound is coming from the glory hole.
And this is when my note says, "Stop saying glory hole."
They pull down the boards and the glory hole opens on its own. The camera catches a glimpse of Pipes just standing behind the door before the mirror on the wall falls on Mike, the sound guy, and the door slams shut. So as they tend to him, we can hear Susie's voice in the house. She says that he's hurting her before she screams and the feed cuts out.
These girls are exhausting.
It resumes outside of the house where Craig talks to the Paranormal Society guy. They remark that nothing seems to be happening at all. It's just another quiet night. Parkinson tries to talk to him, but he's not responding. Everything is just breaking down. The feed in the house resumes, and it looks normal. The kids are in the living room just playing a game with Sarah. Looks an awful lot like footage from earlier where they were playing the game. Mike takes another call. The anonymous caller is there who wants to tell them about that house. He knows some things about it that Pascoe does not know. The owners in the 60s sublet a room in the place to their nephew, Raymond Tunstall, a crazy-ass child molester. The caller knows this because he worked with Tunstall's social worker when he was released from the hospital. He became convinced that there was a woman inside of him who forced him to do terrible things.
Don't love this.
He started wearing dresses. It's a little transphobic.
Yeah, I don't love this. I know that they're going for the Mother Seddons thing, but he could have done something else.
I know. Got so bad that he killed himself in the glory hole.
That's right. He wrapped wire around his neck.
Yep. And it was nearly 2 weeks before they found him. He was locked in there for 12 days with his 12 hungry cats who ate his face.
Now, pin in that for a moment because there is one thing we forgot to do.
What is that?
We did not talk about reviews.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And there really weren't that many reviews.
Oh, again, see, I thought that those quotes earlier were like your sort of thing for reviews.
Those just people being pissed. No, there weren't that many, but there was one that I really liked, and this is from Nancy Banks Smith from The Guardian.
The old gray lady.
By the end of Ghostwatch, a BBC soundman had been hit over the head with a hall mirror, Sarah Green had vanished without a trace, perhaps eaten by cats, and in an exploding studio, Michael Parkinson had begun to talk in the coffee grinder tones of the ghost. You might say Ghostwatch was a trick and a treat.
Oh, that's delightful.
But there was another thing that I wanted to touch on that I didn't get to. And this is from the Northern Echo. And again, this person didn't seem to care about the movie. It says, Rarely do we criticize television programs on the grounds of taste, but Saturday's Ghostwatch came close to the mark. It wasn't that it pretended to be real or frightening. What was really wrong with Ghostwatch was its dubious handling of a very sensitive subject. Without warning, we were presented with the tale of a child molester who committed suicide in a gruesome manner and whose eyes were ripped out by ravenous cats before he became one of the undead with sinister overtones of child abuse. The BBC's viewers might have expected better. Their whole problem with this movie is that one bit.
No shit.
That's it. Yeah. Huh. And I mean, I think the description of the suicide is pretty gory. It's pretty aggressive, but like they don't go into anything else. They do say that he was a child molester, because I mean the implication is that he's the one who was killing these people that were going missing.
Yeah.
But they don't really get into that because again, it's TV. They're not going to do that.
No.
So the fact that they're like, how dare they?
I know. Also, at this point, they're like accelerating because we're coming up on the end.
Yeah.
So they don't have time to really stop and flesh his shit out.
And it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
You just need to know that he's basically Freddy Krueger. Carry on.
Yeah. So Pascoe starts to speculate that maybe it's not Tunstall or Seddon's. Maybe it's the location. Something horrible about that place causes tragedy to just spiral there forever. It's a cool idea. I've explored this in some of my writing. Pascoe jumps up suddenly, realizing something. The feed from the house isn't live. The ghost is in the machinery now. This is from earlier in the night, and the picture that fell down is still up on the wall.
You'd say the ghost is in the machine.
Yeah.
Much like a real hot 90s horror movie.
The video glitches suddenly, plays back some scenes from earlier in the night. In the BBC studio, the wind is starting to pick up. Pascoe
in the studio.
Pascoe remarks that this whole thing has been an accidental seance, implying that by putting it on live TV, they've allowed the ghost to escape into England through the broadcast.
And this is when Michael Parkinson starts yelling at her.
Yeah, right. The feed returns. They're taking the sound guy out on a stretcher. The police are arriving. Craig escorts Kim and her mother out, but...
Well, not before he pushes a child out of the way.
You're in my shot, kid. Back in the house, we return to the infrared camera feed. We can sort of see Sarah moving around in the frame. They're still looking for her, but they're in the dark now, like the lights are out. When the regular feed returns, the house is just going fucking apeshit. Everything's moving around. There's wind. They follow Susie's voice to the glory hole.
And my note says, Sarah, you have no business in the glory hole.
Just stay away from the glory hole. It opens
she
suddenly.
Uses Chris's lighter, and it's like a fucking flamethrower.
It's because of all the it's just the gas rising off the lighter. It opens suddenly, sound of cats. Sarah goes into the glory hole to find Susie, and the door slams shut behind her. Then the video glitches out, and in the glitch, you can see the face of Pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Cut back to this BBC studio where shit is just going crazy. Everything's blowing around, lights are exploding. Up on the scaffolding, you can see Pipes standing under one of the exploding lights, and everybody is leaving. Parkinson just sits there, looking puzzled as everything goes out. When the lights come back up, everything is chill now, but Michael Parkinson is alone in the studio, wandering around looking for a way out. We can see him pacing, narrating. Sound of cats can be heard in the background. He wanders into the foreground, partially visible in the shot, mumbling. His voice deepens, and he recites some nursery rhymes. Fade to black, roll credits.
Hot damn, I love this movie.
I love the way that it ends, man. Like, it takes its fucking time getting there, but I love Quatermass in the Pit. I love a British sci-fi or horror movie that just goes apeshit in the end. It's very characteristically British, and they do it. They go for it. I love it. And they lose one of their announcers to the great beyond, and another one of them gets possessed by a child molesting ghost.
It's I think that this is a very ambitious project for them to have undertaken and to have pulled off as successfully as they did. Like, it's slow. It does have some pacing problems. They spend a lot of time building up, but once it goes, it fucking goes. And they are using so many like just simple tricks of lighting and of like kind of like real in-camera stuff that it manages to do a lot with almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's incredibly successful. It's a little dated, maybe.
Oh yeah, it is firmly rooted in 1992. This is as 1992 as it gets.
Yeah. But it's such a great movie.
Yeah, and it has influenced so many other fucking movies that have come along just like it. You know, we mentioned Late Night with the Devil, the WNUF Halloween special, you know, is another such project.
And I don't think either of those are nearly as successful as this movie,
Oh,
because I
fuck
think
no.
they take this very, like, they all took the movie very seriously. It sounds like Leslie Manning was that the kind of director that really trusts the people she works with, and it's just like, all right, you all go off and do the thing you do so well. That's the reason you're here.
Yeah, and I mean, it comes from that. She's a documentarian, so like, you're just gonna point the fucking camera and let people kind of do their thing, and then sort of make what you can out of the footage in the end.
Yep.
And it's a great little piece, and I love it. I love it. It's got some really. It's very slow. It's so slow at the beginning, and
I just love a haunted house movie.
I
man.
love a haunted house.
We
movie
don't
so
get a
fucking
lot
much,
of haunted
and
house
this is
movies.
such a great twist on the format. You know, the sort of greater implications of this, the fact that like, oh shit, we're haunting all of England now. Such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yep. So there it is. Ghostwatch.
Yeah, I'll go out and watch Ghostwatch.
Hey, get yourself a little Ghostwatch. Get a little British this Halloween. So, where are we off to next?
Well, as you say, we're going to continue our Halloween celebration, our Halloween spooktacular, if you will,
It's a real Halloween hootenanny.
with next week, John Coscarelli's bonkers sci-fi movie, Phantasm. And in 2 weeks, we're going back to Elm Street.
Oh, yeah.
For what is, in my opinion, the best of the franchise.
Yeah.
It is Dream Warriors. Ain't gonna dream no more.
Yeah, and we might have a real fun guest for that one. I gotta confirm them.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. But yeah. We'll we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week for Phantasm. We'll see you in 2 Dream Warriors.